Honda's decision to quit Formula One again at the end of 2021 leaves Red Bull searching for engines for both of its teams. And in the weeks following the announcement from Japan, what started out as a what-if type suggestion that Red Bull could somehow facilitate a continuation project for the Honda engine has gathered pace. Honda says it would be happy to find a way to help Red Bull and AlphaTauri beyond 2021, with Honda's F1 Managing Director Masashi Yamamoto recently telling the race that he is ready to speak to Japan about the options if the request comes. He also said it would be good to give something back to the teams that helped make Honda's latest stint in F1 a success after its disastrous start with McLaren. Since then, Red Bull's motorsport advisor Helmut Marko has said taking over Honda's engine project is the preferred option if talks between the two sides go well. However, he added that would require F1's engine freeze to be brought forward to the start of 2022 so that no development work would be required once Red Bull takes over the Honda program. Looking at the three remaining engine suppliers in F1, Mercedes says it can't supply any more teams beyond the 4 it will have from next year. Ferrari says it hasn't been asked and that time would be tight to work out a deal, and then there's Renault. Renault and Red Bull cleaned up together in the final years of the V8 engines, winning 4 championships in a row with Sebastian Vettel. But then they fell out spectacularly during 5 years together in the hybrid era, which resulted in Red Bull trying to find another engine supplier, initially failing and then eventually badging its engines as Tag Heuer before it found Honda. But following Honda's bombshell, it seemed that a relationship both sides were happy to end after 2018 would have to be patched back together, as F1's rules oblige the manufacturer supplying the fewest teams to make an engine available to anyone without one. But Renault doesn't expect that to happen. Cyril Abiteboul joined Mercedes' Toto Wolff in being sure Red Bull has a plan B, and he even admitted, "I think we are very far down the pecking order before they call us again." Red Bull team boss Christian Horner has also made it clear that going back to being an engine customer doesn't fit with its ambitions in F1. So how could Red Bull make plan B happen? We've picked out some possible partners that could help it continue the Honda program once the factory support from Japan is withdrawn. Oh, and even if this is Red Bull's preferred option, Ferrari in particular seems unlikely to agree to an earlier engine freeze, as it needs all the time it can get to dig itself out of its own engine performance hole. We'll keep an eye on that one, and if it escalates, we'll cover it in much more detail in a video of its own. So if you'd like to keep up with this story and not miss any of our other videos, remember to subscribe to our channel, and we really appreciate the support from those of you who have done so already. Now, let's find Red Bull a partner to keep its Honda engines going in F1. In many ways, this is the romantic's choice. Mugen has a long-running affiliation with Honda dating back to when the company was formed in the 1970s, although its ownership is independent of Honda. It famously ran engines for multiple teams during the 1990s after Honda's second F1 pullout, culminating in a successful spell with Jordan that led to an unlikely title charge in 1999 for Heinz-Harald Frentzen. Mugen is still involved at the sharp end of top-level motorsport in Japan, running teams in Super Formula and Super GT, as well as managing Honda's engine supply in both championships. We understand that those projects will continue to be run and supported from Honda's Sakura base, so any UK-based F1 engine project under the Mugen name would be unlikely to interfere with the existing projects. While Mugen has been away from F1 for 20 years and is surely not ready to go as a turnkey F1 level operation right now, if Honda is willing to effectively let its F1 infrastructure and personnel carry on under a slightly different name, as long as someone else is paying the bills, then Mugen would surely be the best way to badge that. However, Honda's announcement that it was quitting F1 suggested this was not just a financial decision, and that the people working on the F1 engines were required for new projects. How it goes about working out a plan with Red Bull could give us a clearer indication of how true that claim was. Cosworth's absence from F1 doesn't stretch as far back as Mugen's, but it was last on the grid for the final year of the V8 engines in 2013. F1's switch to hybrids was considered too big a step for Cosworth to take alone, and without the funding or a manufacturer partner on board, it didn't want to risk the future of its wider business just to stay in F1. However, taking on an already developed engine with the funding in place from elsewhere could appeal. Cosworth still has a presence across a range of high-profile championships and currently supplies electronics to the entire IndyCar field, as well as developing a new hybrid engine for the British Touring Car Championship for 2022. It has an existing relationship with Red Bull through creating the engine for the Aston Martin Valkyrie hypercar and has supplied a 3.9-litre V12 engine for ex-F1 designer Gordon Murray's new T50 supercar. Cosworth has the advantage of being nearby too, with its Northampton base less than 25 miles from Red Bull in Milton Keynes. Ilmor initially stepped into F1 as an independent engine supplier in the early 1990s and was then picked up by Mercedes for the manufacturer's return to F1, first with Sauber and then McLaren. In the early 2000s, Mercedes bought Ilmor out, turning it into what we now know as Mercedes High Performance Powertrains, the group behind the dominant engine of F1's hybrid era. However, Mario Ilion and Roger Penske, two of Ilmor's original co-founders, bought the company's special projects department and the name to set up a new Ilmor, which is now led by successful US racing engineer Steve Miller. Ilmor has worked with Honda in the past with great success in IndyCar from 2004 to 2011, but from 2012 it jumped ship to run Chevrolet's new engine program. It's unclear if Ilmor would be able to compete against Honda in one series and work with it in another, but Honda's American racing arm is run separately from Japan, so any potential conflicts should be possible to avoid. Ilion has recent history with Red Bull too, having been drafted in to help with Renault's engine struggles in 2015 and 16, and more recently working with Honda to help resolve a vibration issue ahead of the 2019 season. Austrian engineering firm AVL would seem a natural fit given its proximity to Red Bull's corporate headquarters, and it has the resources and the specialist equipment to support a complex F1 engine program. AVL already works on high-profile engineering projects across international motorsport with major manufacturers and has even assisted Ferrari's F1 efforts. However, a recent collaboration with Honda in F1 was reported to have resulted in disagreements that led to a split, so AVL's potential involvement could be dependent on if Red Bull had a desire to patch that relationship back up. Through all the speculation about what Red Bull and Honda could do next, one man's name keeps coming up: Andy Cowell. Cowell was the man in charge of Mercedes HPP as it developed a world-beating engine for F1's new hybrid rules in 2014, and before that he was the mastermind behind BMW's V10 engine that was the strongest on the grid in the early 2000s. Cowell has kept his cards close to his chest since leaving Mercedes, so far only saying publicly that he was off to seek a new engineering business challenge, and later adding that he was still not 100% certain what that would be. All we know so far is that he will consult to Mercedes-Benz on a major project until at least early 2021. Signing Cowell to head up its engine program would be the equivalent of when Red Bull poached Adrian Newey from McLaren in the mid-2000s. The difference this time is that the game-changing genius is potentially already on the market. Who knows if Cowell wants to remain in F1 and if a continuation project with a potentially frozen engine would really appeal to him, but Red Bull would be mad not to have sounded him out. What do you think Red Bull should do? And is it realistic for it to continue an engine project that was costing Honda hundreds of millions of pounds a year to run? Tell us what you think in the comments, give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and remember to subscribe and hit the notifications bell so we can see you again next time.